And I would take 10 micros over one macro any day of the week, right? So 10 micros with 100K each, one macro with 1 million, aggregate following the same, greater reach, greater engagement, greater conversion rate, more niche audiences with the micro collectively. And you're going to have a greater than 10 to 1 opt-in rate with micros in comparison to macros to your programs.
All right, folks, we have a banger for you today. Episode 27. Can you believe it? 27 in the books. Incredible. And not only did I get you a brain, I got you a jock and a brain. We have the former captain of the UCL football team and running probably the most prominent influencer marketing on the planet, Taylor Lagace. Did I miss it? I missed it, didn't I?
Nailed it.
Did I get it?
You
nailed it. Yes, I've been practicing that. Taylor, my man, thank you for coming on. This has been a long time coming. I know you've been very, very gracious in the scheduling, and I thank you for that. When you come to Austin, I will buy you a beer. I have been wanting to get you on forever. Influencer marketing is this kind of nebulous thing that I'm hoping after people listen to the pod, they will understand how impactful and why it's really an incredible value vector for a lot of businesses. But before, that's what we call a plug, people. We'll get people hooked in first. Let's talk a little bit about you. Where does this podcast find you?
That intro was so fire.
Thank you.
I need more of that, man. I just feel like $1 million. $1,000 would be selling you short. I feel like $1 million. I'm calling in from Orange County, California.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And you went to school out there. You've been in California your whole life, or?
Yeah, born and raised Pasadena. Then went to UCLA, like you had alluded to. Captain, it was true, but that is an oversell for sure. I was a special teams captain. That means like I was second string, where like the real players tend to like play. And then I got my role on special teams, and then moved down to Orange County after college.
To be fair, I mean, D1 football, I mean, I did D1 sports myself, man. Even just making a D1 team, especially in a competitive field like football, basketball, football, it's nothing to snub your nose at. I mean, that's a fantastic accomplishment.
I just can't have people going to Google me thinking they're going to see some highlight tape at UCLA. That's just not the case. Yeah. I got to set proper expectations.
We'll take it. So how did you get into e-com influencer marketing? I saw you did a little stint at CTC. Kind of take us through your journey.
Yeah, of course. Well, at college, one of my teammates, so I got recruited at UCLA as a safety, a defensive back, and in my players room, or my position group room, was P. Diddy's son. P. Diddy's son was Justin Combs. So that was my first touch point with influencer marketing. So just kind of lucked into it, quite honestly. And we created, a couple teammates of us, including him, created an events company, typical college thing. And every dollar of revenue was generated off the back of him just posting on social media. I mean, the organic algorithms were different back then, for sure. Yeah. It's kind of actually synonymous to what TikTok is currently doing, where it was able to generate a ton of value. So, I mean, post-college, I left that circle, obviously, and moved on. But that is definitely what sparked my intrigue with influencer marketing and set me on my journey. From there, went to an NFL marketing agency where we represented guys like Aaron Rodgers, Clay Matthews, household names like that. So got a taste of the macro agency side of talent management type thing. From there, went to CTC, built out the influencer department, and then CTC, Common Thread Collective, actually seed funded Kinship 3 years ago.
Interesting. I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So I was like Taylor Holiday's quote unquote entrepreneurial apprentice for a short stint there, which is just a glorified way of saying I was like his assistant. But the man is a brilliant mind, let me in every room that he was in, taught me how to build a business and run a business with my partner, Cody, and then built the influence department there and spread my wings. Kinship 3 years ago.
That's how incredible. P. Diddy to Taylor Holiday to running your own jam. I mean, that's a pretty cool jump, man. That's incredible. What really excited you? I guess was it just rubbing up against the kind of prominent people and seeing, wow, man, this can really drive revenue? Was it like, what excited you about influencer marketing? Because there's some aspects of it that aren't necessarily as appealing to others, and there's some aspects that it really resonates with people. So what really clicked with you?
It honestly started with a bad taste in my mouth, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
At the NFL marketing agency I was working with, it was all, and rightfully so. I can understand why, but it was all client focused in the sense of like their clients were Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews.
Yeah.
The brands weren't their clients. The brands were partners coming in looking to pay, these massive influencers, athletes, household names. But in all reality, they didn't care if the brand got an ROI out of it, and they didn't care, how well the partnership performed. It was all about taking care of their clients, who were these NFL players, and making sure they got paid. And those rates weren't based off anything. They weren't based off an ROI. They were just based off basically what their time was worth, which is just a making for a bad investment by a brand. And so it honestly drove me crazy because it was just really salesy and not based off anything analytical, which really drove me to seek attribution at its highest level, which ultimately I was able to have at Common Thread Collective. And instead of working with macros, like, it really drove me to find value in working with micros in a much greater way, in a much more cost-effective way. Identifying influencers based off content creation ability in comparison to like these NFL athletes who built their audience because of, their NFL stars, are not quality content creators. So a lot of learning lessons, but long story short, started with a pretty bad taste in my mouth.
Love that.
When working in the space.
You wanted to right the wrongs of the influencer marketing space, and indeed you are. I mean, everybody that I know that's worked with your agency is smitten through the roof. So from influencer, how did you get to like cross over into the DTC space? It's just kind of a natural, like, this is just the easiest kind of overlap in terms of influencer marketing, or because you pretty much just specific into the DTC space, correct? Like, you don't do lead gen or anything like that.
It's for everybody, quite honestly. I mean, if you think about it, there's an influencer in every space. I mean, just you as well. Like, you have a podcast. There's probably someone that you respect in the podcasting field that, inspires you or influences you.
Yep.
There's that for anybody and everybody within any given space. Do we predominantly focus in D2C e-commerce? 100%, for sure.
Yeah.
But how I got into the space, again, kind of just lucked into it. A lot of these things are just luck. I mean, you got to seize the opportunity, of course. But at the NFL marketing agency I was at, one of their athletes was a guy named Jordan Palmer, brother of Carson Palmer. And Jordan Palmer actually was the senior VP of business development at Common Thread Collective. And so he knew me from the NFL marketing agency I was at. He's like, hey, this guy does influencer. He knows his stuff. Like, let's bring him on over to build out the influencer department. Interviewed, got hired, and then I was in the DTC world. So really just lucked into it. I had applicable experience at the time, of course, but that was the connection point. He was a client at this agency I was at, and then brought me in, had my interview with Taylor Holiday, and the rest was history.
The City of Angels, just connecting everyone. That's fantastic. Didn't his brother was fairly entrepreneurial, right? Didn't he do I Have to Pee? Or there was that movie site, right, that he did where it would show you the best times to pee in or use the restroom in a movie? I'm pretty sure
like I would know this.
Maybe I'm totally So maybe I'm totally making.
He was entrepreneurial though. He's crushed.
Yeah, I know he did a bunch of stuff in that space, but that was back in the. That's incredible. So you have all of this talent, all of this opportunity around you. Was there any resources or mastery? Like, to your point, like, luck only gets you so far, right? I mean, there's definitely a vector of perseverance, of skill, of like, did you use any frameworks, learn any kind of, how did you skill up to such a degree where you are now? Because you're a young gun still too, right? You're in your 20s, late 20s, right?
Yeah, I'm 28. I just turned 28.
Yeah. So I mean, that's I'm old, man. I'm 36. When I walk around, dust shakes off of me. So I mean, when I was in my 20s, it's incredible to see what you've built in such a. I mean, you're young. You have the whole world in front of you, and you're at such a. I mean, I can't think of a more prestigious influencer marketing agency than yours. So how like, what frameworks or how did you gain all this mastery in such a quick way and build so much goodwill?
Yeah, well, one, got a great partner in Cody Whittick as well, who has had a plethora of experience on his end. He was able to build the influencer program all the way up from the ground over at Kalo, and before we partnered up together. But I think just figuring out what doesn't work really early on, and
Yeah.
having the experiences I did. I mean, again, I was able to be fortunate enough to, have P. Diddy's son in my room and start a company
Sure.
with him there.
Sure.
And that was 10 years ago now. I'm 28, so that was 10 years ago when that initially took place. So 10 years of experience in the influencer marketing space is a decent amount, and was able to fail a lot, try all the wrong things, saw what didn't work, and found where the real value is, which was the birthplace of kinship 3 years ago. And it's not, it wasn't the worst situation to be able to be in every room that Holiday was in at Common Thread Collective, learning how to run an agency. So that was incredibly valuable. That was a crash course, master degree, without getting one. So I was very lucky.
Dude's wicked smart. I'm a big Taylor Holiday stan. He's a blue flame thinker. That guy, he really gets it. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs outside of being in P. Diddy's son's dorm room that you wish you had received?
Find mentors as early as possible.
Love that. I love that.
That's the biggest value add that works for me. Like reading books, definitely read books, but there's nothing going to be more valuable than having a mentor that you can ask questions in real time that are applicable to what you're experiencing right here, right now, and having a conversation about it. Books, 100%, you can apply what you're reading, but having that face-to-face conversation, be able to articulate, what's going on in the weeds of your business and have someone be able to speak to that is invaluable.
I couldn't agree with you more there. And sometimes it's a challenge to find mentorship. But I was lucky enough I got a job. There's a small company out here. Well, not as small. Unilever just bought them, called On It. And I had the opportunity to work with a guy named Aubrey Marcus. I was basically his right-hand man. And I got to basically see all the aspects of running a business. He was the CEO at the time. And it was just really interesting to see, I got to see him hire people. I got to see him fire people. I got to see him kind of, the calf to cow thing. And I think it can be incredibly, incredibly impactful. And then another thing in terms of mentorship, I find the most impactful mentorships are in 3 layers. And it can be challenging when you're younger because you don't have the bottom layers. But the layers that I think of is the bottom layer is you want to help somebody that, shepherd them along, that you're farther along their journey than they are. Then you want to have somebody at your level that you can respectfully talk to with, candor, where you respect their opinion, but they're going to shoot you straight. And then you want somebody that above you that you can emulate. And if you can build that kind of 3 layers of mentorship, I've found that really, really helpful to get you to where you need to go. And to your point, man, there's theory land and then there's real life. And a lot of times they're not the same. And so being able to, yes, you need this requisite knowledge, you need to read up, you need to have these fundamentals, but being exposed to it in real life and understanding how the world works can be, if not as impactful, more impactful, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. I mean, do both. Just bring that theoretical thinking that you're learning and how to apply it to your mentors and to your counsel and that circle of trust that can speak into your life and your business.
I love that. That's beautiful, man. Okay, one last question in the main segment. What's the nicest thing someone's done for you?
The nicest thing. Ooh.
Come with the heat early. We got to prep you for rapid fire.
I recently got engaged. She said yes. It was the nicest thing ever done for me.
That's so funny. There's been multiple people that said the nicest thing is either getting engaged or my wife saying yes. And never the other way around. It's never the lady saying it. It's always the male. So congrats. You have a date set? You honeymooning? What's the deets there?
August 21st, Santa Barbara. If you can find the location, come crash it.
Let's go, baby. Are you guys honeymooning?
We are honeymooning. We're thinking Costa Rica right now.
Oh, beautiful. Let me know, man. I have some friends out there in Uvita. It's a beaut, man. It's beautiful. That is one of my favorite places. There's this weird kind of, not getting too hippy-dippy, but I think there are certain places in the world that have like these healing properties. And Uvita, Costa Rica, and Sedona are 2 of the places I've been where I just go there and I just feel better. Like there's just like an energy vortex or something. It just feels better.
I believe
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country.
Is there something called like a blue zone that identifies those locations too? We're
Maybe.
getting nitty-gritty into the...
That sounds right. It sounds about right. Yeah, we're going
Hippity-dippity.
We're gonna sell the maps of the blue zones, people. Watch out.
Check
You
the
can
show
get yours
notes.
at exactly right in the show notes. Subscribe. No, but I mean, yeah, it's Costa Rica's gorgeous, man. I haven't been to the Caribbean side, only the Pacific, but it's a beautiful. No standing army as well. Fun fact for you there.
Oh, wow.
But really beautiful country, really not cheap, but not expensive, but really incredibly clean. There's a big festival right outside of Uvita, or my friend's place, called Envision, and I went to it. It's a big yoga festival, and it was really cool because everything was biodegradable. So the only thing that was plastic, so even the hamburgers had like wraps on them instead of like leaves instead of actual paper. And the only thing that was not biodegradable was the plastic on the popsicles. And the vendors actually had to take the plastic away to dispose of it off-site. So really, really great choice. I love it.
Well, I'd love to do yoga with you sometime, man. Be a
There
great
you
time.
go. We'll get into it. I love it. I sweat a lot though, so I tried to do the hot yoga.
Cesspools everywhere.
Yeah, I slip and
Cesspools.
slide everywhere. But hey, trying's half the battle. So let's get in there.
That's right.
All right, the value add segment. That flew through. It's like meeting a buddy. I can't believe P. Diddy, Carson Palmer, Jordan Palmer. I mean, the celeb hookup for days. Of course you're in influencer marketing. This guy. All right, this is why people bought the ticket, the value add segment. So let's jump in. Let's get nerdy. What are the best parts and what are the hardest parts of running Kinship?
Best parts, having a partner, and my co-CEO, Cody, for sure. Two minds are better than one. You definitely got to die to the ego there. But if you can, having a co-partner is huge. So I would say that's a perk. Hardest thing, finding the right people. That is invaluable and probably the biggest piece. Finding people that are a cultural fit, that want to honestly come alongside you and achieve your dreams. And you need to be able to serve them as well to help them achieve theirs, whatever that looks like, right? You could be a launch pad for them for their next position or to start their own company. But finding the right people that are cultural fits and that get the job done and do it well, I would say that's probably the hardest part, but it's also the most fulfilling part.
I love that. How does that co-CEO role work? Because there's no tiebreaker. So how do you guys, if you do have different opinions, how does that kind of materialize into a decision?
We have counsel. So if they're,
cool.
we have like a board of advisors, counsel that we go to, because that's inevitable, right? And we have process in place for that, and it's worked out incredibly well for us. Yeah, it goes back to the mentorship piece, right? You need people not only in your individual sphere for your life, but I would definitely recommend for your business as well, having people you can go to.
I love that. Yeah, I think people forget like the OG Stoics and like the OG. Again, these were kind of more affluent people in the society, but they had mentors or advisors for basically every part of their life in terms of their personal life, their romantic life, their business life, their philosophical life. And so I think the more you can get that kind of mentorship in, I think just the better off you are. And especially if you can find people that care about you, truly care about you and want you to do well, that getting that perspective is just so helpful. And you don't necessarily need to always take their advice, but just having that perspective and understanding of there's a different way to think of these things, because we're all riddled with bias. It's just the human experience. And so the more you can have those different perspectives, I think the more you can temper those biases. I think that's the plural.
Either or. Potato.
Either way. Potato. So I want to come on to your, I really like influencer marketing. I really want to throw some money at you. Take me through the process of how you onboard a new client, or like, what does that look like?
Yeah, of course. So on a month, I'll just give you the spiel. On a month-to-month basis, how we're coming alongside the brands we're partnering up with. We're identifying and reaching out to a minimum of 500 influencers per month.
Oh my gosh. And
that's just a minimum. It's as scalable as, the brands want it to be. It can be 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. The infrastructure is in place to do that. How we're identifying these influencers, I'll just give you the full tech stack as we go to, in case you guys want to try it internally. We use a tool called Tagger. Transparently speaking, the price we get for that is $1,500. It might be a little bit more for other people since we've just been a partner for a long time and send them a lot of brands.
Sure.
But 1500, a free tool there is Facebook Brand Collabs Manager. That's a free identification tool. And then TikTok Creator Marketplace is also a great free tool.
Love it.
So those are the platforms you can identify influencers on. When you're going on those tools to identify influencers, you know, deep dive your customer data. You want to find influencers that align with that, of course. But then you also want to go in the frame of mind of, you know, what persona influences this customer. So it's those are two different influencers, right? And then align that, you know, persona fit, demographic fit, brand fit, all the above. Get all of that, plug it into your search engine tools that will help you, and then have a white glove approach thereafter. So this is the most important piece. Influencers' biggest value add, bar none, is content creation ability. So once you identify all the quantitative metrics and align that with what you're looking for, white glove approach, can this person, you know, are they articulate? Are they charismatic? Are they thumb stopping? Do they stop, you know, do they capture my attention the first 3 seconds? Like video content creation ability is everything. So before you look to build a relationship with an influencer, they need to check the box of and answer the question of, can you, Raba, sell me on the product that I'm offering and selling through the video content that you ultimately create? If the answer is yes, then you are someone that is worth building a relationship with, sending product to, and ultimately taking the next steps with. So that's how you think about identification and the platforms to potentially use. Next steps there is actual outreach. So we believe, hot take, the pay for post model is dead. Not because, you know, you don't hear of case studies, you know, paying Kim Kardashian $1 million and they brought in $3 million. While I'm skeptical of that case study, there's just a better way without putting so much money out there. That also lends itself to, you know, more authentic content and more authentic and genuine relationships with these people. So we believe in seeding. So what that looks like, after we've identified these 500 influencers, we reach out to all of them with a message saying, hey, Raba, we think you're a great brand fit. Absolutely love the content you consistently put out. We think you love our product, and we want to send it to you, no strings attached. And what we mean by that is we have no expectation of you to post whatsoever. Just send me your address, and we'll get this right out to you.
How
so you
cool.
might be thinking, we're sending that outreach message to 500 people, and we're literally communicating they don't need to post. We do have expectations. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't have an agency, and we'd be bankrupt. But so expectations-wise, what we typically see, out of the 500 that we identify, a minimum of 20%. So if you look to do this internally, just apply these percentages. So if you reach out to less or whatever it is, 500, we identify 120% at a minimum will opt in to receive your product. They'll say, yes, would love to. Thanks so much. Great. Out of the people that receive your product, 30% of those will end up posting of their own free will, free of cost, under no contractual obligation, incentive free, 2 to 3 times on average each. So you end up with 30 influencers posting 60 to 90 assets for the cost of what? They posted all for free, for the cost of sending out 100 products. So if your COGS are $25, 25 times 100, you're looking at $2,500 investment for 30 influencers posting 60 to 90 assets. You're not going to get that rate anywhere within the pay for post model. And then after they post, this is the biggest value add. After they post, follow up with them a message saying, hey, Raba, so glad you love the product we sent you, so much so you're willing to share this content with your audience. Hey, we'd love to be able to share this content with our audiences as well. Can we have the rights to do so? Effectively getting usage rights to all that content. Now let's reformat all of it into ad placement ready creative. Let's caption all of it, and let's create iterations on those 60 to 90 unique assets and turn it into 100 to 200 plus ads to launch into Facebook and across your other channels. So mass organic distribution play, content creation, you know, supplement your paid media efforts play, and then you're just building genuine relationships with all these people. And then after they post, onboard them in an affiliate program and constantly engage and re-engage with them in that way. So super long-winded. That's what we do.
No, that was so interesting. Yeah, this is the value add. This is where people get nerdy. So that's so fascinating to me. I love how formulaic you've made it, but also have this humanity to it as well, if that makes any sense at all, where there is this architecture that you have and kind of an order of operations that you're running through, but at the same time there's these really intimate touch points that you're building in to make sure that not only does the influencer feel like there's somebody that's coveted, but also that you are ensuring that the brand is going to be aligned with the people that are most going to be able to evangelize the best for them. I think that's brilliant, man. That's a really cool way to do it, and the numbers just work. Like, you're talking about $2,500 COG, so we're basing $25 COGs, say. So you're talking about a $2,500 nut. You got an agency fee that will pay you, and then on top of that, we're going to get X amount of creatives. Like, to your point, there's no way that you're going to get that output at the number or the quality or the sincerity outside of the system. I mean, it's really interesting.
If you ever need a job, man, no. And it's just the biggest, the influencer marketing has a bad rep too, with a lot of people, because it just comes off like scammy. It comes off transactional. That's the biggest negative, the biggest con that people typically speak to when brands that have experienced or tried influence marketing, they'll say, "Oh, influence marketing is a scam. It doesn't work. Why would I pay this person to post?" This is completely non-transactional. And so the people that ultimately are going to be posting about you, it's not because they were paid to post. It's because they genuinely love your product and your brand. And so they're authentically creating content. When you pay someone to post, that's what lends itself to the bad rep of influencer marketing. That's where you get the sponsored posts in the copy, like you can tell it was copy and pasted, and like you get the staged video where it's just kind of awkward. None of that is at play here whatsoever.
And the other thing that I really like about this is, to your point, I'd always be hesitant when I was researching influencer marketing in terms of making big bets, right? Where it's just like, you make this one bet, and I'm going to give this person $25K or $30K or whatever, and then it's just crickets. And you're just like, what the hell did I just pay for? Like, why this person was X or Y or Z, and it's like they didn't drive any business at all, and now I'm on the hook for a $30K nut. Like, that ain't the path, man. And so being able to kind of make more, I guess conservative, but it's not the descriptor I'm looking for, but more logical bets that I can then scale up if necessary for me as like a CMO is much more appealing than me having to take this huge leap of faith, a lot of money, a lot of basically resources to maybe get some results versus being able to have 30, 40, 50 bets at that level is way more interesting to me. And the knock-on effects of the creative is really interesting. It's very interesting, very fascinating to me.
Yeah, that 25 to 30K nut is probably when I was at that NFL marketing agency, had you on the hook.
Exactly.
No, but that was the bad, your experience, that was the bad taste in my mouth. There's just a better way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, there's that weird kind of no man's land of like, maybe if you, because I had the opportunity to work with Oprah not directly with Oprah, but with a brand that was working, and the Oprah bumps will. So, I mean, the Kim Kardashian thing might be real, but again, who has $1 million of capital to mobilize? Like, you know what I mean? There's only a certain sector of people that can actually do that. And so there's that kind of no man's land of like people that you're going to pay $100,000, $50,000 or whatever, and they're not needle movers. They're just quote unquote influencers, but they're not needle movers for the business. And at the end of the day, to your point, why I like what you guys are doing at Kinship is you're so rooted in the ROI for the brand, where at the end of the day, man, most of us are capitalists, especially if you're running a brand. You're not, unless it's a charity, you're a capitalist. So it's not like you want to make money. Like, obviously you want to make your clients' lives better and your product to make a positive impact in the world. But at the end of the day, like, you have to generate profit to keep the lights on, to keep generating these cool products. And so if you're constantly just throwing these terrible influencer relationships out there and just eating these huge nuts for no reason, it can be not the path. Definitely not the path.
It's just not a need anymore, right? There's a formula to this. Like the Oprah bump is real, and the Kim Kardashian bump could be real. But for every bump you get from someone that large, there's every like cricket experience, time and time again. Why take the guess? Like, you don't know. And 100%. And to have like the micro macro conversation real quick a little bit, like when you compare micros to macros, we're really bullish on micros just to make a case for them. So if you're trying to start start with micros. We do it all the time for all of our brands on a consistent basis. And if you want to get to macro, start micro and then scale up to macro. But if you think about why micro, when I say micro, everyone has their own term, 5K to 150K and following.
Yep.
That's like the bread and butter zone here. Plethora of just massive pool of quality content creators and influencers. One, no agents or managers. Again, I came from that world. And someone trying to seed our players, our athletes' products, our macro influencers' products without paying them, it's extra work for me. I ain't letting you through the door. So you avoid those people whose livelihood is contingent off hustling you for hiked up rates. Avoid them. They're out. Two, on a per follower basis, micros have greater reach, greater engagement, greater conversion rate, more niche audiences for you to align your customer with. So two, and with seeding, you're going to have, and I would take 10 micros over one macro any day of the week, right? So 10 micros with 100K each, one macro with 1 million, aggregate following the same, greater reach, greater engagement, greater conversion rate, more niche audiences with the micro collectively. And you're going to have a greater than 10 to 1 opt-in rate with micros in comparison to macros to your programs. And then lastly, content. Following up for usage rights to micros, no drop off in the quality of content, 10 times the amount of it. They're flattered you want to repurpose that content into paid media or across your channels. Can't tell you how many times, like, what, you want to use this? So exciting. It's like it's a big day for them. Macros, it's like 10 plus K for 30-day usage rights to repurpose that. So making a case here, the sexy thing is the macro Oprah Winfrey deal, but the micros, if you have the team to put in the work, is a much more effective bang for your buck.
Yeah. And I would also build on top of that the turnaround time. Like when you are dealing with these macros, it's like, dude, just dealing with superstars. Like maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll post it. When do I need to post it?
You're dealing with their teams too.
Yeah, exactly. Gatekeepers, constant gatekeepers.
So many hoops.
Oh, totally with you. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. When you think of like higher level, why do you think influencer marketing is so impactful?
Content, without a doubt, is their biggest value add. When you think about, we think about influencers not even as like distribution channels. We think of them as just like content creation
I love that.
ability there, and be able to supplement all our own channels. So when we think about them, like the distribution that they have when they post organically, we see it as the gravy, the cherry on top. That's awesome. We'll take it. But being able to take their content and repurpose it into our own channels, paid media specifically and predominantly, that's where the real value lies. I mean, if you think about the market rate of a quality asset being created for your brand to be able to repurpose into your own channels, you're looking at $500 for a quality asset.
Easy.
I mean, you think about, 60 to 90 unique assets coming from sending out 100 products. Let's just average it out at 75. If your COGS are 20, if it takes $25, it's 2,500. 100 products times 25. 2,500 divided by 75. That's like $33. You just got each asset for $33 from professional content creators that have proven to create content that works best.
He did the math in the head, people. It's 33 and a third. That's impressive. I just did it. That's impressive.
That works best on the platforms you're looking to advertise on. That's authentic, that's native to the feed, that's organic. All of that you're going after instead of your product studio shoot assets that cost $500. I'm not saying don't do that too. You need both. But we have seen this content work incredibly well, and these people have proven to create content that works on the platforms you're looking to advertise on. It's incredibly inexpensive to do so if you do it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, the math just works. And I think there's a certain vector of relatability where, the macro is aspirational, but the micro is this is relatability. Like, I'm like this guy or I'm like this gal, and, just this regular person just kind of trying to better their life and getting value out of X or Y or Z product for these different value props, I think is something that can't be overlooked, where there's a certain aspect of like relatability is a huge value prop for a lot of people. And obviously, again, the aspirational vector is definitely there for the macros, but I think there's a lot to be said about people, that look like them or talk like them or what have you. And then you're like, oh, wow, I can use this product too. And so it really opens up a lot of interesting markets in that place.
For sure. You need to humanize your brand. This is a great way to do so. 100%.
That beautiful verb. I love it. When you, let's see, got maybe one or two more questions.
Talk to me about
What is one challenge that you've dealt with your business? And I'm sure there's multiple, but just pick a favorite or pick one that you think would be helpful to our listeners.
You know, one problem we faced, we knew seeding, and this is just on the service side, so like figuring out our service, right? Early on, we knew seeding was the way. We knew giving out product, no strings attached, building relationships in that way with influencers will ultimately lead to far greater output in the long run at a much more cost-effective rate for the brands we're servicing. But in the beginning, we had no way, like Cody and I, like super early on, it's like Cody and I just like scouring the internet 24/7 for like when these posts are going live. We're just like, man, this isn't scalable. Like this is just misery. But then this tool, Mighty Scout, came along that was able to collect content in like real time. Like everybody that was a part of our seeding program, it's like a social listening tool. Every single influencer that was a part of our seeding programs, you know, we don't know when they're going to post and what. There's not like a contractualized date and time. So we just plugged in all of their handles in there, super cost effective. I think it's like $2 a person that you upload in there.
That's brilliant.
So worth it, right? If you seed 100 influencers, it's like $200. Let me tell you, that was the best $200 I ever spent in my life to save hours of just time. And then it collects all the organic analytics around these posts. You can collect all that content, download that content from within the platform, so you don't need to have the influencers send it to you. It saved so much time. Biggest headache ever, led to, honestly, what our seeding process is today, and was like a huge game changer for us. Mighty Scout, definitely a plug right there for them, but they're incredibly valuable to us and our team.
It's beautiful. We might have to beep some of this out, Taylor. You're giving away the keys to the kingdom here, man. This is incredible. Wow, this is amazing stuff. One more question, and then we'll get you ready for the rapid fire. What do you think the biggest opportunity you see right now with TikTok is?
Seeding influencers. I mean, redundant here for sure, but TikTok's massive play. Seeding influencers on TikTok is the biggest play you can have. Like I said, it's like we're seeing, if we just circle all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, their social media algorithm is unprecedented. It's like Instagram way back when right now. So getting product in the hands of TikTok influencers, and honestly, you know, I said 5K to 150K follower count is what we predominantly focus on. On TikTok, these influencers with even more following than that don't have agents or managers. It's just it's just a unique time. So you just need to take advantage of this moment right now. I would still stay smaller just to, you know, hedge your bet. But I mean, their algorithm, it doesn't matter really how much following you have. Every video has the opportunity to go viral, and that's what we've seen time and time again. It's incredible. And then that content as well, like super quick, and you know, it goes to the next shot really fast. Like it's content that works well even when you repurpose it into paid media on Facebook. Like some of the highest top performing ads that we've ran with influencers have been on Facebook, but it is from TikTok content that we're repurposing into Facebook. So organically, if you're activating influencers, TikTok, take advantage of this moment. Definitely seed influencers on TikTok right now. But then do not be afraid to repurpose that exact content into Facebook ads, where 100% we're seeing far greater performance on the paid media side. In comparison to TikTok, they're just leaps and bounds ahead of the game still in their ability to find conversions at cheaper rates. But yeah, so that's my answer to TikTok. These are long-winded answers, Rob. I apologize if I'm.
No, this is the value add. No, we're just a witness in your world right now. This is exactly what I wanted. This is my favorite part of the segment, or favorite segment. Well, behind rapid fire, because I get to beat you up a little bit. But no, I mean, I think you're just spot on there. And interestingly enough, like, what I love about TikTok and the algorithm too is it's pretty much agnostic from your social graph, where like it's just your interest and what you're interacting with. And the kids won't. You're a youngster, so you won't get it. But it's almost like a really supercharged America's Funniest Home Videos had a baby with YouTube. You know that reference?
Come on,
You know that
man.
reference. Okay. Okay.
Of
Hey, you're
course.
young guns here. You're young guns. But it's crazy because
That's the OG of Taj.0 and Rob Deerdeck.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come
Oh
on.
my gosh. Total small digression. I just watched a crazy documentary on Rob Deerdeck, and basically the last 2 or 3 years, he's like 75% of MTV's programming. It's just all ridiculousness. I'll have to link in the show notes. It's nuts. That guy is a really interesting entrepreneur. It's crazy, but
Crushing it.
yeah, it's just fascinating to me though, but with TikTok, because there's just so much breadth of content, which is like I found out about a Section 179 tax deduction on there. Like what? What are you talking about? Like there's just all these little pockets of awesomeness, and that algorithm is just so good that it's going to surface really compelling videos. And to your point, it's not an incumbent platform where breaking through on Instagram or Facebook, yeah, right, dude. I mean, the incumbents are there and they're going to be there and you're not going to dethrone them. It's really, I mean, organic reach is all but dead there.
Right.
Whereas TikTok, man, is really like you're buying a lottery ticket every time you post, which is pretty incredible to think about. And everybody's, it's just kids. There's a ton of demographics across the spectrum on there where
Growing daily too.
People, oh my gosh, man! People are doing work on there, doing some serious thumb stuff, and so, and furthermore, to build on your point, IG Reels isn't horrible, and so like throwing this into either your YouTube Reels or your IG Reels is very, very similar, and you can't go the other way, which is weird. I haven't seen people go like IG Reels to TikTok, but I have seen a ton of success of TikTok being successful, and then you toss it over into the Facebook ecosystem, and then it crushes on there as well. So,
for sure.
I mean, you're getting almost double dipping, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and just to double down on this a little bit, not to beat a dead horse, but like organically speaking, on like Facebook or IG, you're gonna reach 10% of your audience as an influencer. On TikTok, it's very easy to reach the entire audience, if not, far exceed that audience by allowing that, to go viral. So if you go back to the seeding example, oopsies, apologies, real time.
No
if you
worries.
go back to the seeding example, 30 influencers posting 60 to 90 assets on TikTok, numbers game here even further. One of those is going to go viral. If you're identifying influencers based off video content creation ability, their algorithm honors video content creation ability more than anything.
Exactly.
Content goes viral by the ability of that content to be consumed by the end viewer. The more that content gets consumed, the amount of time that content gets consumed, it unlocks the next level of virality, unlocks the next level of virality, so on and so forth. So one of those posts will go viral. Just, it's a numbers game. Start seeding influencers.
I love that, man. And just to wrap this up, what's also cool is TikTok has a lot of really interesting abilities. Like video comments is really fascinating, where you can interact with your audience even more. On top of duets, there's all these cool things that you can do to iterate on top of that core piece of content to get even more legs, more influence, more conversions out of it. I mean, it's absolutely the path. Taylor, you're such a gem of a human. I love it, but I got to do it to you. Are you ready? It's rapid fire time.
Pepper me.
All right, let's go. John Wooden, overrated or underrated?
Underrated for sure. He's the GOAT. What do you mean?
The GOAT. Let's go. Influencer marketing, overrated, underrated?
Man, underrated, of course. John Wooden was a maker of men. Come on, man. He exceeded the game of basketball. He led it to the ship, and he just led men to just being amazing humans.
Incredible humans. Yeah.
Man.
He's a
maker of men.
I love, great, interesting, really interesting. I went to IU, so I have a little bit of the basketball pedigree, but nothing like. To be fair, Bobby and I was a bit of a dick, and he kind of, but John Wooden was maker of men is a really good descriptor. The people that went through his program were just they came out as really good humans, which is almost more impactful than the actual sports of it. Yosemite, overrated, underrated?
Underrated. Yosemite is an incredible place. Yeah. You can see Big Sur back here, but to be honest, I would take Yosemite over Big Sur. That's a hot take maybe, but I would. It's incredible.
They're both, I mean, you're talking about 10s out of 10s. They're both, I mean, they're both mad. I haven't been to Yosemite, but thank God you're the third California kid I've had on here, and the first two hadn't been to Yosemite, and it absolutely gutted me.
Unbelievable place.
I'm not super religious, but I hear that there's just this almost religiosity that you get when you kind of drive into the meadows and you just see the big granite cliffs and the gorgeous rivers and everything. It's
Thank,
yeah, it's supposed to be
thank
magical.
God for who was it? Theodore Roosevelt. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
God for him.
Teddy.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God for
He is.
Teddy.
He's incredible. Actually, if you guys want a fun read, there's a River of Doubt. It's about his trip down the Amazon. Really, really fascinating guy. Really, really fun read. UGC, overrated, underrated?
These, come on.
Toss-ups?
Overrated. Oh, of course, it's underrated. Come
Oh,
on.
beautiful.
Well,
Beautiful.
IGC, influencer generated content, underrated.
That's different. Okay, that's underrated. But UGC is underrated as well? UGC in the whole.
I love all content. I'm taking IGC over UGC though.
Okay, so what are we going to say? It's properly rated? You got to give me an answer here. UGC in general. User-generated content.
If it's
overrated,
not
underrated?
influencer, if it's not influencer content, I'd say overrated.
Okay, see, I got an overrated out of you. The NFL, overrated, underrated?
Overrated.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love it. Are you more of a college ball guy, or do you not watch football, sporty ball anymore?
I'm wrestling with it, even if I like have my kids play. There's just, because obviously I played
That's a
ball.
great point. Yeah. So great.
I
I didn't think
wrestle all
about
the
that.
time with, do I allow my kids to play? Yeah, I've seen concussions have a big impact on people's
The
lives.
Hernandez thing was gnarly, right?
Yeah, and you see it firsthand from college too. Guys like have to medically
I
retire,
didn't even think about that.
medically retire from too many concussions. See personalities change. So it's like, So
That's
I
a
think
really
it's
good point.
I
You're
think
close
it's-
to the metal on that. I didn't think
I think
about
it's
that. Yeah,
I think it's overrated, man. Yeah.
I love it. Fishing, overrated, underrated?
Ooh, I'm not a big fisherman, but I like the idea of it. Finding peace and somewhere calm to just relax and reflect. I think fishing's a great way to do that. So I'm an advocate of it. I can't claim it though.
Okay, I can dig it. Snowboarding, overrated, underrated?
Underrated. I love it. I was just in Tahoe last weekend.
There you go. Do you ever do any skiing or strictly snowboarding?
I'm trying to transition. I got a pretty bum back from football.
Yeah.
And I've just heard skiing's a little bit lighter on it. So I'm trying to make the transition.
I love it. Favorite DTC brand?
Ooh. Animal House Fitness. Really cool
Ooh.
brand. Really cool
I'm
brand.
not familiar. Oh, cool. I'll have to drop a link in the show notes. How could I not know them?
Yeah, it was just it's a cool brand, cool product. They came out amidst COVID. It was
name.
actually a guy that lived across the way from me at UCLA, but they've scaled 0 to 7 million over the last year and a half.
Woo, let's go.
Been featured on Joe Rogan podcast several times.
Let's
But basically it's an attachment for your foot that allows you to attach to dumbbells, where you can lift dumbbells with your legs now and like your feet. It's a pretty
How
it's a pretty
cool.
neat product. Yeah, he was an engineer at UCLA, rad guy. His name's Paul Jackson, founded the company, but I'm a big fan of theirs.
Shout out Animal House Fitness. Fantastic name. Favorite thing to do in California?
Go to the beach, get in the water.
Any
For sure.
specific, like Venice Beach or any beaches in particular that?
LA beaches are a little
Not the path?
overrated. Yeah,
Okay.
if we're gonna go underrated, overrated. When you see like the Los Angeles Lakers commercials and they're showing palm trees on the beach, that's Laguna Beach. That ain't LA.
Okay.
So I'm here in Newport. So that's the home
nice area.
beach.
Yeah.
But I would
It's strong,
say
though.
Laguna is the nicest beaches.
The path.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. Favorite meal and why?
Favorite meal. I love sushi. Yeah.
All right. Any? Do you do the bougie rolls, or are you kind of a simplistic guy? What do you get?
Love salmon.
Yeah.
I keep it pretty simple, man. I enjoy
Simple man,
making
simple
it as
pleasures.
well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How
But yeah,
cool.
salmon, avocado, cucumber, white rice.
You ever get crazy
simple.
with the sashimi?
Sometimes. I mean, it's a little bit
Sometimes.
simpler too. So
Yeah. Straight raw fish. Let's go,
I
baby.
mean,
Let's go.
you're definitely having sashimi as you make it because you can't help yourself. So
Okay. Well, man of many talents you are, Taylor. Favorite place traveled to and why?
YouTube's a crazy thing, by the way, on that. You just YouTube things. Thailand.
Interesting.
Unbelievable
Yeah.
place. Beautiful.
I've heard that. Yeah.
White Sand
I've heard
Beach,
that.
incredible culture, incredible people, incredibly
Food's not
inexpensive. Incredibly expensive. I remember I took a tour of like these islands on a boat all day one day, and it came with drink and meal. And it was like $33 split between.
Let's
like
go.
so, it was like 5 people, $30 each. It was just like what? And it came with scuba experience, like just unbelievable. Yeah, it was wild.
That's incredible. So you're PADI certified then? You know how to get under the water.
Sorry. Snorkeling.
Snorkel?
Not scuba.
Okay. Yeah. Still, that's amazing.
Massive delineation there.
Still amazing. It's so odd to be under the water, whether it's snorkeling or scuba. But scuba is really breathing underwater is the most odd thing I've experienced. Favorite way to spend your time?
With my fiance, brownie points.
Aw, this is twice you brought up her marrying, her engaging to you, and
that's right. Nice things
let's
ever happened to me,
baby. Yeah, let's go.
Quality time though, man. That's my love language. Now you know.
That's beautiful. Yeah. How small digression? Are you like a time blocker? Like how? Because I struggle with that. Like I have to block it in my calendar. I feel sometimes especially working for early stage startup, I haven't been showing up probably the best in my relationship as I should be. What's your trick?
Time blocks for sure. Yeah.
Time block. Okay.
Hard stops at certain times. Blocks at times that are just off limits. Yeah. Big proponent of boundaries and parameters. And even if I wasn't, she'd hold me to it. So accountability as well.
Way. You guys are paired up correctly, it seems. I love that. Favorite follow on Twitter?
Rabba, come on. What you mean?
What? Let's go. Come on, folks. Get you a follow out there.
Let's get it.
You got
one
more
on Twitter.
Let's go. Coming in hot. All right. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, fictional or non-fictional, you're at a 4-person table, you're sitting at the head. Who comes to dinner? Who do you invite?
Oh, man. Wow.
I know. See, I was taking it easy on you at the beginning.
3 people, dead or alive.
Fictional or non-fictional, so they can be real or fake.
You know what? I would have... I would do Jesus, Gandhi, Buddha.
Ooh, wow. Quite the religious bent. I love it. That would be an incredible conversation.
That'd be fascinating.
A lot of wisdom there. Pretty amazing. Talk about some influencers too, huh? Come on, folks. Here all night.
And that's how we tie it all together.
Yeah, that's it. That's how we close it out. Taylor, tell the folks how they can follow you. Tell the folks how they can get more involved in Kinship. This time is yours, my friend.
Yeah, kinship.co, kinship with a Y, so KYNSHIP.co. Website just got redone. Shout out.
Ooh,
Harry, DTC website, web pages. He's phenomenal.
Oh, he's the best. His feed's
he's
amazing
great,
too.
Incredible. And just quality guy, not to go off on a tangent here. That dude serves. Like, talk about a guy that is good at what he does, like his craft, but just serves people. Like, anytime you want to get on a call, he's great. But Cody and I, my partner Cody, are both really active on Twitter. So
great feed.
Try to give as much value as possible away if you're looking to find tips and tricks.
What's your handle?
Taylor Lagace, just straight, and then Cody Whittick, Cody_Whittick, I believe, on Twitter as well.
We'll put links in the show notes as well, but fantastic. Taylor, this is such a fun time. I'm so glad that you could bring back the light to influencer marketing. I know there's a lot of misconceptions about it, and I think after people listen to this episode, those misconceptions will be eradicated, and then hopefully they'll either build their own system, or if they got more money than time, they'll come to you and have them get you some influencers. Thank you again, man, for all the scheduling conflicts and stuff. This has been one of the ones that I've been looking forward to on the calendar, so it feels really good to finally get in the books. That's 27, folks. Unbelievable. If you do want to get more involved at Triple Whale, we're at trytriplewhale.com. We're on the Bird app at Triple Whale, and then we have an incredible newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, Thursday called Whale Mail. You can subscribe right on our Twitter feed. Taylor, congratulations on the incredible engagement, on all the success. We are rooting for Kinship. It's one of our favorites, and if you guys need some influencer awesomeness, Taylor is your man. And that's it. Anything else, Taylor?
No. You were born for this, man. You're a really good podcaster. Beautiful. Great host. Oh, thanks for having me.
Oh, man. Right in the feels. I love it. Yeah, and you did it after the rapid fire, so it's not dirty pool. You weren't even trying to soften me up. This guy's a gem, this one. Taylor, if you're ever in Austin, give me a shout. And that's it, folks. We will see you all on the flip. If you love this episode or previous episodes, we'll be on the YouTubes or any podcast. Feel free to share with everybody. And that's all we got. Thanks again, Taylor. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.